All right, so for our second video, we're going to talk a little bit about cleaning data and techniques for reviewing it, and then we'll do a little bit of work with formulas. Now you'll see here, I've actually created a second tab down here because the first tab is here's our data set. Here's the second tab that says raw on it. And the raw is a term that's used for data that comes in that has not been manipulated in any kind of way. And sometimes when you're collecting data, it's going to come in this raw format and it's going to look a little messy. Maybe the way that it came in through the data collection process isn't exactly perfect in the way that, it reflects the real world of data collection out there in the real world, right? So a couple things I'll notice here. I've highlighted everything to make things a little bit easier for us, but you always want to check your data to make sure that everything looks the way that it's supposed to. So for example, I see these empty cells here, and I actually happen to know that these values are 5, 6, and 5 here. But you could actually go back to the form. If somebody was doing hand entering data from a paper form, they might have missed a few sections or just didn't enter things in. And so you can go in and go back to those forms and check it and make sure that it's good to go. So you can wait whenever you see a blank or something that doesn't look right, you can always go back to the original source of data and see if that might have answers for you. Sometimes you also see errors like you see here in this data service column, like -5. Well, that's probably not possible, right? So it's not -5. If I went back to the data, I could see, oh, somebody just put a minus sign in front of it for some reason. And so I can take care of that, right? We didn't mean to make that red. There we go. Well, same down here. It looks like someone just accidentally hit 7 twice. So we'll change that to a 7. Now, of course, it's always good to double check that with the actual data on hand entry, or you can go back to the person who was hand entering it to see if you can confirm that information because you don't want to make assumptions when you're doing your data collection either. Here's one where we got everything is highlighted here. What could be going on? Oh, I see. It looks like it's P019, P009 twice. This is a duplicate entry. Sometimes that'll happen where somebody just enters data in twice or somebody takes a survey 2 times. So it's good to keep in mind and go to do little searches for your data to see if you can find some of the duplicates. And if you Google how to find duplicates in Excel, it'll give you some nice tricks for doing that when your data set isn't 40, but 4,000. And that can get a little bit tedious if you don't have a strategy to go after it that way. But for now, I'll just go ahead and delete this entire row since that was a duplicate entry. And then we see under the calendar or the gender column here, we see that we have different words that are being used to describe male. Sometimes that'll happen if you have like an open-ended text box. People write all kinds of different things in there. And so in this case, if you are trying to make sure that every one of these is the exact same, you can do something called find and replace. And if you go up to the top column up here and click on find and replace, you can find what? You can say man and replace it with male and click replace all, and that will replace all of those replacements for you, which is a very helpful tool. So I can take care of that. It takes care of all of them. Here it looks like we also have a date entered incorrectly. So we'll go ahead and change that to 4/1/4. And voila, we've cleaned up our data. All right. So now that we've got our data cleaned, what we can do next is start to go ahead and do some work with formulas. And I want to teach you 2 formulas that are really helpful. So say, for example, you are working and you wanted to find out, you have all these days served, and you want to say, well, what is the total number of days served for all of the people that I've worked with? I can hit the click on a cell down here, and I'm going to click the equal sign to say, hey, Excel, I'm going to do a formula. Now, if I didn't do the enter sign, it would just type in whatever text is there, right? Whatever text I'm typing just shows up. But if I hit the equal sign, it tells Excel, hey, we're doing a formula here. And one of the formulas is sum. So if I hit equals and then do sum, and you notice as I start typing, it gives you examples of different types of functions you could use and different types of formulas and whatnot. So there's lots and lots of them that you can take, and the more Excel tutorials you take, the more you'll find out. But I'm just going to do sum for now. I'm going to open a parentheses here because what I'm going to say is I want to sum or to count up all of the numbers in a particular set of cells. And to do this, I'm going to, I have this nice little highlighted cell bar here. I'm going to bring this up to J2, click on it, and then I'm going to go gently down all the way down to here and hold the shift button down. And then click on 41. And that says everything from J2 to J41. I then close the parentheses in my Excel formula, and voila, I have 209. So it says, hey, I served 209 days. That's a pretty cool thing, right? I could also count the number of rows that I have in here using the count formula. So I click count, I can open it up and do the same thing here, 0 here, close the parentheses, and I've served 40 people. So you could then say, hey, over the past, I don't know, year, if this was the year, or I guess in April, May, and June, and a portion of July, as it shows there in the dates, the program served 40 people, and it's 209 total days served. So that's just kind of a useful way of using Excel formulas. Now, Excel formulas can get much more complex, and the more that you use it, you'll get used to it. But I think the idea here is to think about ways that you can use Excel formulas to simplify and automate some of your processes. So that way that you're not adding things up by hand. If you're ever doing something by hand, you feel like there's got to be probably another way to do this, and take that time to learn those Excel formulas. Anyways, this is a quick introduction to cleaning data in Excel formulas, and look forward to showing you some new tricks on the next video.